Now we are going to look at some more nuanced ways of correcting null values, starting with a group by. So if you haven't seen a group by before, let me show you what it is. And we can use that to address like an idea, say humidity. Like, okay, so we're going to replace the null values that are humidity. I could do the same thing. I could use the median or some other measure of central tendency. But I could also say, you know what? Wouldn't the would it better than the median of the entire data set? What if I looked at the median of each season? Because isn't the humidity different in different seasons? And the seasons are actually marked here. So we can actually organize the data by season. And the way to do that is called a group by. Okay, group bys are actually a fun way to replace null values. So let's do a new subheader here and call it replace null values with group by. Okay, we'll look at how to do that. So let's look at the group by first. Okay, so df.groupby. Okay, so group by that's an official term, you know. And what do we put in here? Well, I think you want to put in. It looks like. I think it will work maybe just to write the name. I may have to put it in brackets here, and then you can't just do that. And let me explain why. Okay, so you've got 4 seasons. What are you gonna? So it's only gonna have 4 rows. That's the whole idea. But what are you gonna put for the column values? Like we're looking at humidity. You've got a bunch of different humidities. You've actually got to pick another measure of central tendency. So I'm going to pick the median, and what you can do then is use dot median here. So let's see if this works for a group by. It does. So let's look at it as I put in the comment explaining what it is. It's just, group df by season. And again, you got to pick that measure of central tendency with median. Okay. It doesn't have to be a measure of central tendency, by the way. You can like count them all up. You could take the largest. You could take the smallest. Okay. Central tendency is just one way to do it. There are a lot of different options here. Count will count them all, and sum will sum them all. But if we look here, like these are all the medians, right? If we look at some more interesting values, certainly look at the range, look at the difference in median temperatures. We know this, right? Temperatures are different in different seasons. This would be a great way to correct those null values. And humidity is different in different seasons. More striking, I guess, in the first one. And note that wind speed too, right? So you can get a little more nuanced when you're using a group by. Now, to extract those values to replace the null values in one line requires a little bit of pandas. And so here you go. I've got code up for this, okay? I can never remember this code. I tend to look things up if I don't know, and as you go forward, you'll find out that the notebooks that you create will be invaluable coding references for you going forward because you know that the code works in them. So what we're going to do, we're going to, you could say, replace humidity null values with, the median of season group by. All right, that's a mouthful. How do we code it? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to actually do it via the column. So if I do df, the column is HUM, and I'm going to reassign it to what? Well, we're just going to fill in the values. And so, by the way, this is another way of doing it. I guess, we could use the in place equals true, but you can also just like reassign the individual column. So if you reassign the column, you don't need to use in place equals true. I'm showing you both methods because you can use both, and I want you to know different ways of doing things in pandas. If ever one way is clearly superior, like I'll go with that. But I think these are both like totally legitimate and solid. So how do I do it? Okay, well, I'm going to change this column with .fill in a. That's our key method. And then inside of there is what? Well, it's basically what we had before. Okay, it's a bit of a codeful, you could say, like a mouthful. So it's df.groupBy. Okay, that's right, like we had above. We definitely grouped by season. But now we want to see, that's like what we have above. But so it's a data frame. Okay, what I just put in is a data frame. And within that data frame, you have an individual column. So pandas is very chained like this, where you can put in the individual column, now HUM. Okay. And then finally, you can do something which is a dot transform. And you're going to transform it with the median. So I know it's a lot, and I realize it's my code is running off. See, if I go down 1, I think you can see it all. Move it back up. I actually code smaller, but I want it to be large when you guys are looking at it. And I should just be able to run it. And is that going to work? Like, I don't know. I have code over here indicating that it would. No errors. That's a good sign. And I will leave it up to you to actually check it, because you can use what we just used. You can go back and look at the rows using the same methods to indicate that they have in fact been filled. So that's a lot. Like for me, like that's a lot of pandas, but that is how you can get nuanced with your data transforming null values. We'll look at another way in just a moment.